Woohoo! And we're live once again on another Tuesday, and I have a friend and guest in the house. I've got Debbie coming in from Florida today. Debbie, woohoo! Thank you for
Hey.
being here today. And before we get stuck in with our topic, can you please just quickly introduce yourself, tell people who you are and what you do?
Sure, and thanks so much for having me, Gillian. I'm so excited. My first career was 23 years in nonprofit work, marketing, media, PR. The last 7 years of that was fundraising. Loved every second of it. Unfortunately, I lost my job at 57, first time I was ever let go. And thankfully, because of that, I found LinkedIn as a job seeker at 57. I found my real passion at 58 when I launched my business, showing individuals how to use the platform better for marketing and branding. Since then, I have grown my business. I have three awesome women that work with me. We are located in South Florida, US, and we have clients in 21 countries. And my business will celebrate 13 years in June, and we love what we do.
Oh my gosh, that's great. And I love it because it's like you're showing that you can come on this platform at any age and it works. And I love that. I love that. I came on in my 50s too. So there we go. It's good. It's good. So, speaking of this platform, which is our beloved LinkedIn, our topic today is, can you change someone's life with LinkedIn? And I already love the positive comments that have been coming out today, that we've been seeing, that people are like, yes, yes, yes. It's just like, okay, hands down, the show's over. Yes, that's the end. That's the end answer. But Debbie, first, what kind of even brought, I gave you the opportunity to choose our topic today, and this just came up for you. And so maybe you want to start off by what kind of set this off for you in the first place?
Wow. Well, I think after you've been on LinkedIn for a while and you get familiar with the whole purpose, which is meeting and engaging and developing business relationships literally around the world, you start to think about different things that LinkedIn has done for you. I certainly know what it's done for me in terms of not only personal growth, but if somebody told me 20 years ago I'd own my own business, I'd say, "Are you nuts?" So, I took that leap, which is another whole story of being in midlife, career change. What do I do next? For me, I had never been let go ever, and I
Mm.
always had a successful career. And my head was spinning for a while, and I had to get over that. And then the idea of having two kids in college, being a single parent at the time, and not having $1 million in the bank. So it led me into a lot of personal growth. But after a while, I started to see how my clients were changing, because of how they were using LinkedIn. And then a little more time went by, and the more clients we worked with, and we are always working with at least a couple of people, executives in transition almost every week. And the more we got into doing conferences, we really started to see a flow of clients, some of whom would just come right up to the table. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that particular incident in a little bit. But it's really fascinating how this platform has grown. And along the way, uh, so many options have come into play. Lots of options have been laid to rest, sadly, some of them. But people keep moving forward, and that's my whole mantra: is you don't look back, you look forward.
Mhm.
And I love seeing how we've helped some people literally change their lives because LinkedIn has been instrumental for them to find, their next career. And even when they're not looking for it, sometimes it happens. And even when they least expect it. And I love working with people that say, I hate social media. I don't really want to be on this platform, but my boss says I have to be on here. Those are the fun ones because they come back almost every time, and the whole tune has changed and they understand better what this platform's all about.
Mm, mm. And it's so true. And I love that what you just said a second ago about sometimes even when you're not looking for something, you can get an opportunity. And I know I personally have a friend who is on LinkedIn and she's not got her own business. She works at corporations and she has always kept her LinkedIn profile going. Even when she has a job, she keeps it up to date, keeps it clean. And she is every couple of years, she gets a headhunter that comes by and says, "Hey, I have this position. Would you be interested?" And she might be totally satisfied with her job, but it might be, wow, that's the next thing I'd like to do. And she didn't even know what she didn't know that
Yeah.
like, wow, that could be something yeah, I'm interested. I'll take a look. And sometimes it's led to like a counter offer of her current company going, don't leave, and then kind of upping her position or changing her position. And other times she's gone off and had incredible opportunities to go interview in foreign countries, all sorts of different things. So even when you think, I don't need LinkedIn, you don't know if it's going to be that magic that gives you that next opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah. You never know. And let me tell you something, that phrase, you don't know what you don't know. I wish I had a nickel for every time I've heard that. And it's true. Your opportunities are unlimited in any direction. This site is not just about job seeking. Absolutely not. But interestingly, over the years, the HR industry has become very fond of LinkedIn. And, that's no wonder. There's so much detail, as much as you want to display on your profile that's available, well beyond what an HR director can find from a 1-page or 2-page resume. So that's no mystery, but I think it's been very interesting how in the beginning, and I've been on LinkedIn 12, 13 years, I think, before I launched my business, a couple of years after I joined. And I think it's interesting how in the beginning, it was absolutely known as the job seekers website. And I still run into some people. I just talked to one this morning, and she now realizes it's a lot more than that. But conversely, no mystery here. A big part of their revenue comes from talent solutions, as they call it. The HR folks. And I just think it's been interesting to watch the whole growth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So how has your life changed? But you've got your own business now. So that's one thing on a personal level. Anything else?
Oh, yeah, just a few things, Gillian. Like worldwide network of people who I call friends. And thank God for Zoom or Teams or any other screen share that people choose to use. I love the advent of technology, anything and everything about it, including AI. I mean, it's just fascinating to me uh, how fast things change and speed up. And now technology, especially, it's like, hold on, because this is going to change tomorrow. How has it changed me? It has made me global.
Mm.
We have clients in 21 countries. I'm so proud of that. And one thing leads to another on LinkedIn. You just never know who knows who. And I
That's
say
true.
that all the time. So you need to be open to opportunities to expand. And as you expand your network, understand that every single member that you're bringing in is bringing you value with the network that they have that they're bringing in. There's still so many people that don't realize when you connect with somebody, it's not just that, one person additional in your connection count. You're bringing that person's whole network into yours.
Mm.
And it's that whole network that can find you in organic searches. I love that. And again, you never know who knows who. Just a quick example, maybe relevant to changing someone's life. We just did back-to-back conferences. We do these profile reviews on site with attendees. And I had to think of where I am, in San Diego, 3 weeks ago, I worked with reviewing and it's all the mortgage industry folks with the MBA. And he was very interested in going further with our coaching for his office. Yesterday, I got a beautifully worded email from his daughter who said, "My dad met you in San Diego, and I'm really interested." Da 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 da. She is a college sophomore, and she's getting ready to, boost her career and wants to start smartly building her network ahead of time before that degree. That's going to change her life. I know it is.
True.
We work with often. We have clients who work with us, and then months later they'll turn around and say, "Can you work with my son? He's a high school senior." And I'm like, "Sure." Who knew I'd be working with 18-year-olds, as well as every other age you can imagine. And it's just fun. It's just fun for me to turn people on to such effective networking. And I've said this a lot. I think I've been a networker since I was about 10.
I love that.
Putting people together on teams at school and, picking people out to serve on a committee and whatever. I don't know. It's just in my DNA to be open and friendly and curious, about other people. And that's been fun.
So for anybody who's watching or listening, what are some ways that we could be proactive, in your opinion? What are some ways that we could be proactive to actually change people's lives, to do good things on LinkedIn, to network and lift others? What are some ways, Debbie?
Number one, you have to be willing to be a giver. Um, you're going to get 10 times out of this platform if you understand the value that you can bring to others with a simple introduction, for instance.
Hmm.
If you know that someone is in transition or they know they're about to lose their job, that's a nerve-wracking scenario in anyone's life. But you have to be willing to spend a little time and get to know, some of those connections that you have that, they can use you. I'll give you a good example. So my nonprofit background was, I don't think it was an accident. My parents met in church. Okay. My dad ran the New England PGA Golf, which was one of the few chapters that is a nonprofit in the country. And my mom was always volunteering with the Scouts. She was a Boy Scout leader and a Girl Scout leader. Figure that one out. So, we were raised to be altruistic. I'm the youngest of five. 3 of my 4 siblings became executive directors of nonprofits. So there you have it. I was kind of surrounded by it. And when you have that mindset of giving without expectations, it can do wonders, not just for your personal life, but your professional life. So when I come across a client and they are really, they're really in need. And boy, I'll tell you, even now, people are suffering from COVID and the backlash and the loss of jobs and income and et cetera. And again, between these 2 conferences, I talked to a gentleman at the Orlando MBA servicing conference. And he was very transparent. We hit it off pretty quick, a lot of synergy. And he said, I used to make 175,000 a year. Okay. We work with all kinds of people. And he said, and my former company paid me not to leave. And 2 months later, they fired me because they downsized. And he had a great opportunity put in front of him, and he turned it down because that company he used to work for gave him a little boost. And then 2 months later, he was out the door. And again, you just never know. So now he has picked up a job, and he told me again very transparently. He said, "Now I'm making about 70,000 a year." He said, "That's quite a drop when you get used to the lifestyle. Da 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 da. We're going to work together." But I am also cognizant of several other responsibilities he has financially. And I'm going to give the guy a discount on my rate because I can. And he is going to get the same value everybody else gets. But he was so transparent and so outgoing and friendly. I want him to get back into that bracket of a job he can really explode with. And I know he can do it through this platform. There was another instance where a woman came up to our table at the Orlando conference. And she looked right at me and she said, "You probably don't remember me, but you worked with me a few years ago. And I'm telling you, I've got the job of my life because of your training."
Wow.
It was like,
Wow.
okay. And I had to glance at her name tag. We work with a lot of people, and it was almost 3 years ago. And she had not been to a conference for a while, but it was from one of those conferences where I ended up working with her. That just made me feel like $1,000,000. She was just so gracious, and I was so happy for her. But I'll tell you, one of the most impressive things that happens is when you least expect it. And I'm now giving you some instances of how I feel like LinkedIn changed lives. I worked with a physician who was a specialist in diabetic and amputations and preventing diabetes and preventing it progressing to amputations. And holy cow,
Ooh.
not only did I learn a lot about that disease and how absolutely horrible it is enough, but in other countries that don't have, like the third world countries, it is mind-boggling. And that's just one disease that they have a severe challenge combating. He was retired from working at a VA hospital, and he was still active speaking, and he wanted more speaking engagements, but he and his partners, he had 3 partners, a couple of them for overseas. They had been working on something to change the whole industry, and something that doctors could use to identify certain things in a patient and actually prevent the advancement of diabetes, et cetera, et cetera. Well, they needed funding. And I thought, phew, I felt like I was getting in over my head. But I showed him how to search on LinkedIn and how to build his network with people in the field that could further what he was trying to do. And long story short, they just got some funding, major money from a big pharmaceutical company. And he was just off the wall excited, and so was I. And I started working with him 3.5 years ago. So, I mean, it took some time, but he learned, he kept coming back for more fine tuning on searching and engaging with people and that he didn't know, but boy, he knew he wanted to know them. And I think that's the thing that is a key point on LinkedIn. 2 things. You've got to be willing to be patient with the process of connecting and then engaging, building a relationship before you start to pitch. I'm on a soapbox every day. I know half the people on this call, we all get pitched every day in the invitation. Don't just don't
do that.
Just don't do that. But for the recipient, don't just ignore that invitation. Report it first. 3 little dots in the upper right corner of the invitation. And you can report it. It's anonymous, and LinkedIn will pay attention. We got to do everything we can to cut down on the garbage that happens on the site. Lots and lots of members. They hit 1 billion. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of people on it that shouldn't be.
Let's speaking of members, let's hop in and grab some of our members of our audience today. So we have Jeff. Greetings, Gillian and Debbie, 2 LinkedIn ladies that bring the gold, giving others a lingering difference. Oh, I just love him and his acronyms. They're awesome. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. Thank you. Marcia says, hello, Gillian and Debbie. Thank you for showing that any age works. And it does. And that's the nice thing about LinkedIn. You can be 16 or you can be 60. It don't matter. There's a place for everybody here. And she says, you were absolutely instrumental in my LinkedIn life, along with too many to mention. Isn't that nice? And I
Beautiful.
remember she went live on LinkedIn, and Tony and I hopped in and we went live with her, no prep. And it was like, we just held her hand. It was awesome.
Ah,
Jeff says, age is just a number. It was so fun to find LinkedIn after I retired. So see, it's and it's changed his retirement. Like, you think about it, Jeff Young could be out at the golf course. He could just be golfing all day long. Well, maybe not in Ohio. He'd have to go to Florida, Debbie. But look at him and his relationships that he has with both of us, right?
and we know he loves chocolate.
Yes, he does. Send more chocolate. Send more chocolate. And Mary Wu says she sneaks in quietly 3 minutes late to the live. I love it. I love it. And in actuality, this is a key example of how you can change lives by being in the audience, by us acknowledging the audience. It's all part of the networking, and networking can go on in any different way on LinkedIn. And that's always what's so lovely here. Rhina says, that's a really great point. Maintaining your presence, and you never know what opportunities may arise. That's absolutely brilliant. Yes.
Yeah.
You really just never know what opportunities arise. Okay. So we talked about introductions. We talked about comments. Comments are a way of making a difference in people's lives. I've seen people who have, posted something, been a little nervous, and then they didn't get any comments and they felt wobbly and took their post off. And so even just dropping a comment on someone's life is just a tiny thing. What else, Debbie?
I'm gonna build on that comment. As long as you comment, and I don't remember which expert I learned this from, but we've practiced it for a while now. When you're commenting, keep two things in mind. You want to try to add value to what's being discussed or talked about. Don't just say great post or I agree. You want to actually use more than 4 words. That's going to appeal to the algorithm. The algorithm wants engagement. It doesn't consider a 2-word comment engagement. So we've always taught our clients, write a sentence, because sentences are usually more than 4 words. The other thing is to keep in mind the activities that you're doing. I'm in the West Palm Beach area. There's always a lot of networking going on here. I'm a huge advocate of chambers of commerce, both the local Chamber of Commerce of the Palm Beaches, long name, and Palm Beach North Chamber of Commerce. They're both, and there's a load of Chamber of Commerces in the area. I wish they'd all get together. But they all, in every city, they all offer opportunities for non-members to experience a networking event, every single city. So if people haven't taken advantage of looking up their local chamber and just attend, a lot of them have things like power networking lunches or breakfasts or happy hours. Again, I'm a huge networker. You can't get enough of it. And boy, if you're in transition, especially, keep your face out there. But those are great opportunities to engage, meet, and connect with people on LinkedIn or right on the spot. And if I'm going to something locally, and I always have people in mind, I am always meeting people at that event. I invite them, and then I meet them there, and it's all about that person. It is not about me. I take them around, and I will introduce them to as many people as I can to help them build a network, not just on LinkedIn, but locally. And again, you just never know who knows of an opportunity. Or if, I love taking these young entrepreneurs, meeting them at those events, because they're trying to launch a business. So the more people they can meet locally, the better. Conferences, we started working at conferences 2019. And what a great opportunity conferences are. Any event, not just a big conference. Any event offers an opportunity to post really great content. Tell your network, post about it before hey, this is what I'm doing. And if you go back to my profile, look through my activity, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. We were promoting the heck out of both conferences because we're sponsored to be there. We're very blessed to have built ourselves a little revenue stream there. And I love to travel. Put me on a plane, I'm happy. But you can post before the event, during the event, get your phone out, take pictures. I couldn't believe how many, sorry guys, men I talked to, and I would ask them at the conferences we just did, you're taking pictures. I mean, the speakers were amazing. I wish we had time to go see them. I said, I hope you're taking pictures of, the seminars, the speakers. Oh, no. And I said, okay, get your phone out. I'm going to show you how fast it is. I actually did that. You can go back to my profile and see a couple of gentlemen that pretty sure we're going to be working with them from Appraisal Links. And I, in less than 5 minutes, I had the two of them come together and I took a picture. It's me with two gentlemen. And I just sent them the results of that post, which took me 5 minutes to put up. And it got a little over 1,000 views on it.
Wow.
But it's got a bunch of comments and a bunch of engagement from reactions. So everything, we always coach to, put an image with whatever post you do, even if it's just your logo. And then of course, post event of any event, local or international or big or small, that's another opportunity to post valued content. People are interested in authenticity.
Yes.
I have to mention Deanna Russo. She struck a chord. Just check out her profile. And she has a daughter that's in gymnastics. I was in gymnastics for several years. And it was just, that post got a boatload of activity because so many people could relate to it. Her daughter had broken, I think, her ankle, missed a whole season, and she was really accomplished. So many lessons learned from that. And,
I love that. I
I
love
see
that.
that. I see that with people it's okay to get personal on LinkedIn, to a certain degree, because you do build these relationships. And if you're building them properly, people are going to care. They're going to notice and they're going to appreciate when you share stories that are so relatable. She got so much interaction on that post just because it resonated as being a parent dealing with a
Absolutely.
child that was crushed because, at the pinnacle of her, excellence, she wasn't able to compete.
Oh,
So I personally, go ahead.
speaking of relationships, I want to just shout out Felipe Cofino. Hope I'm saying it right. I just love him. And he says, hello, Gillian and Debbie. Great to see you sharing LinkedIn knowledge. And I want to just take a quick opportunity to share something that Felipe shared in a LinkedIn audio room I did with Annette recently, Annette Richmond. And we were talking about relationships and connecting with people. And Felipe says that he starts his day by going to the LinkedIn celebrations tab. And it's just literally, I'm going to pull it up here because I remembered it. And it's coincidence that he's here. So it's awesome. It's just linkedin.com/celebrations. If you go to that tab, then you see everyone in your network, their work anniversaries, you see their birthday, and I think there's something else. I can't remember what the other thing is, but you actually could go there. And Felipe starts his day. That's the first place he goes, on LinkedIn. And talk about being a giver. And if it's somebody's birthday, he'll send them a birthday message,
Yep.
and these are just, how long would that take you? Like a minute.
You know what? If you jump on your phone and go to messages, you can leave a voice message even faster. I mean, I got good fingers, but they're kind of fat and all that. It's just I like to hit that little microphone next to the field where you usually type a message and leave a voice message. You only have a minute, so you can't get wordy, but that makes you stand out too. It leaves a little blue
Sure
recording
does.
line, and people are like, "Oh, I didn't know you could do that on LinkedIn."
And you
Yes,
can also leave a video message if
yes, you
it's a
can.
good hair day, if it's a good hair day. And it's so fun because when you do a video message, it it's video and audio both, and so it's kind of a fun thing. But even if you just go, I only have time for a text, you could send a GIF. So that's a kind of a fun thing. If you use your mobile phone, you can just click. I think you can do a GIF on a desktop as well. But again, those are just a little couple minutes to do something like that. If you started every day doing that, just imagine you're connecting with people that, like, maybe you'd approach them. You haven't talked to them for 3 months.
Yeah.
Their birthday is a good way to sort of reestablish those connections. So it's good. It's
Absolutely.
good. So I'm glad you showed up, Felipe, so that I remembered to talk about you. And I already had that keyed up. So that was kismet. So Debbie, we have reached the end of our 30 minutes. It always goes by so fast. So what would you like to leave us with as sort of like the final message takeaway for today?
Try to be consistent. I think that's the biggest thing I've learned. Don't get swallowed up by stats and views. I love analytics. Don't get me wrong. I'm on it every Wednesday afternoon because it rolls over every Tuesday night. But don't get swept up in the vanity metrics. Views are important, but it's not everything. It's your content, it's your frequency, it's being consistent. The scheduling option on LinkedIn posting is awesome. I know a lot of people that sit back on Sunday nights and they schedule 3 posts for the week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Guess who's going to start doing that? I post more than that, but the idea is to be consistent and keep your messaging out there and don't worry about how many views it gets. If you're doing quality content, people are going to start watching you, and it doesn't take a big number of people to get a big return out of being consistent with your posting. Stay engaged with people that are posting, and pay attention to people that are engaging with you.
I love that. That's brilliant. Well, thank you so much for being here today, Debbie. Thank you to everybody who joined us on the live and listening on the podcast or watching the replay. We're really glad that you're here and that you joined us today. And that makes a difference to me, and it makes a difference to Debbie that you would come and share this topic with us. So I will say goodbye to everybody now. And Debbie, once again, thanks for being here. And
Thank you, Gillian.
Okay. Bye.